bless you. And expand your vision. So, hi everyone, my name is Gladys. You can just go around and just all say our names. Shanti. Tati. Tati. Tusky. How do you spell it? Well, my full name is Natasky, but that's harder. Natasky. My middle name is Natasha. Oh, I'm sorry. Natasky. Okay, my name is Natasky. So good. My name is Leslie. Yeah. Oh, so nice to meet you all so much. My name is Gladys. So I'll just go through quickly a bit of my presentation and talk to you more so about the other some time to reread it because you can never reread the Bible, right? And see what else I pulled from it specifically for this. And then we will talk a bit about the planner, how to plan, and then we'll do an exercise. And that's what the bulk of our time will go today. Because we really are here to learn how to actually plan. So many times we get the ideas and then we sit on it and it's 2 or 4 years. Recently a girl did a consultation with me. She told me that she's had the same idea for 6 years. And this year she was just like, clearly she needs help. And so she's willing to invest to actually get the help. And after the entire call, she was like, oh my gosh, like it just feels easier now. But she sat on it for 6 years. And so it took there. Don't be afraid to invest in your vision as well. It's completely okay to invest in it. So I know you guys went through the courses that were right to execute your vision. So like I said, we go through a certain amount of things, my story, lessons from Deborah, 3 keys to execute the vision, why visions fail. So when you know why visions fail, you can kind of actually see when it's failing. It can also kind of help guardrail against it. And we will do the exercise, and then that's it. So a bit about me, I'm just a tiny little girl. I'm a tiny little Jesus girl. I'm 27 years old. I graduated from Georgetown University. I worked in investment firms. It's funny, I went to Georgetown for government, political science, all those things. That's where my interests were, international relations. But I've only ever gotten jobs at investment firms. So I hear you, Lord. I know I'm probably good at it. But my trade, you would say, is I'm a project manager by trade. I'm a wife by God's grace. I got married last year, April. And I'm a tiny, thank you. And I'm a tiny little human. His name's Dominion. He's 7 months now. But I established 2 businesses. One is called Global Essentials, where essentially, you know, I love traveling. And anytime when I started really traveling in high school, I realized anytime I went back, everybody told me, you're going, go. And my Instagram name is actually Go Back, but people don't know it's a combination of my entire full name. So GL, Gladys, and AD, the start of Global is my last name. And so anytime I would hear that, but I like traveling because I feel refreshed. Anytime I step outside myself, my comfort zone, I realize that how small my problems are and how big the world actually is. So I feel like it just makes me feel refreshed. And so I love traveling. But I started Global Essentials because I feel like everyone has a unique glow. What makes you unique? But so many times we're trying to be like somebody else. And so it's really just a lifestyle brand. We sell bags, suitcases, we've done several things. And it's still something I'm still developing. You know, I did out of obedience, but step by step, I'm still learning more and more about the entire thing. And then the Global Better Planners came about last year. I actually got the idea for this back in 2022. I was there and I used it all throughout my 4 years of college. And it wasn't this. It started out as a Google Doc and an Excel. And I had so many different things and so many different courses. But the Lord was like, put the whole thing together and like let other people be blessed by it. But I got the idea in January. God was in this, I still did it. So it was a PDF. I sold it. Didn't really very good, but I still made like $400. And I told me like, if I knew somebody's going to buy my black and it was not extended, it was not anything like this. So then I told myself, in 2023, I'll do better. I'll like actually sit, I'll be careful. And I forgot to But in 2023, I sat down again. I said, in 2024, I have to do it. And it didn't help. But last year, during the marriage fast in October, I was sitting there and we go to church. Well, I go to church for all the sessions. So I would be at church from 12 p.m. until midnight, and I do it all over again for 21 days. So when we're there, the Lord was like the planners. It was one of my goals for the year was the planners. I kept moving, which is okay. Sometimes it doesn't work, as long as you're still taking the steps to try to push it. So last year, it was like, plan it, like I'm telling you. So I sat down, really, and I did this in 2 weeks. I literally pulled up, I put the whole thing together on the camera, and it wasn't like I said, I can graphic design, I'm not a graphic. I can do things, but I know where my strengths and my weaknesses are, and that's fine. That's why I outsource things. So I put it all together, and however it fell, it worked. And I did it, and I went on Fiverr, I found a graphic designer, I found a manufacturer in China, and I just did the whole thing in 2 weeks. And then I sold it, and it was wildly successful. Sold it for about 2 months, so it's November, December. I've shipped it to Italy, Germany, Canada, I've shipped to Australia, and I was mind blown. Because I was like, so this is what happens when we're ready. Literally, I was so mind blown. And so when this year came along, I was like, oh my Australia. A random girl literally DM'd me, so I was selling the printer in different colors. And so I literally was like, okay, thank you for sharing it. But I just thought about it, and the girl was like, yeah, we're not done. Like, it's something that I literally tell you, like, if you're not blessed by it, I use my own like, so you don't have to buy it. I use it. The Lord was like, there's so many people that are just, they don't know how to. That's why it's important that any vision God is giving you, because what you could have could be an answer to what I have. What I have could be an answer to you. So my obedience, I'm just going to story to it. So that's a bit about me. So I went ahead and read Judges 4, the story of Deborah. And this time when I reread it, I actually did give me revelations that I was like, I did not see this before. But for the purpose of this, the Lord highlighted things to me. And I think there's 3 key lessons we can take away from the story of Deborah. The first one is that vision comes from the Lord, but it is given to you not for fun, but it's a response to the cry. So if you read the beginning of Judges 4, it literally says that the Israelites cried out for help. And the next verse right after that is when Deborah, it tells us that there was a woman named Deborah sitting under the palm tree, and she called out to Barak. But Deborah came in after the sentence of there was a cry for help. So there's a cry for help somewhere with the gifts or whatever God has called you to do. So don't think that it's to be trivialized, it's just a dumb idea, it's just clothes, it's just this. No, there's a cry for help somewhere, and that's where your vision comes in for that thing. And so your response is a cry for help. It's not for fun, it's not for whatever, it's for purpose, it's an answer to it. The second lesson from Deborah is that you have to execute your vision, and the directions for it only comes from God. And I love what you said, Michelle, that every single time it was the Lord that said, it was the Lord that said, and it's God that told you here and there. So it's a vision that comes from God, and He's the one that will guide you ultimately. So in the book of Deborah literally said to Barak, the Lord said, gave him the directions of what he was supposed to do to execute. And the last lesson you can take is that God requires you to take the first step in obedience before you take steps in. So he said something so powerful. He said that you did it out of faith. Not that you had the budget for the entire book, but out of obedience you did it. And I'm sure the Lord provided with all of it. And so the Lord requires you to take the first step. In the book of Deborah, it literally said that at Barak's advance, the Lord stepped in. So it was when Barak moved, when the Lord stepped in. So it's when you move is when the Lord steps in. And even in the book of Psalms, he said that the word of the Lord is a light to your feet and a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. And people don't understand that when you, let's say the whole room is dark and there's a lamp on your feet, you can only see as you move one step in front of the other. So the lamp doesn't light the entire path for you. But it's each individual step that you take that gets you to the next space. And so sincerely, just take it one step at a time. And that's exactly what Barak did. He didn't have the whole entire vision, the whole entire thing at the beginning of the day. It was one step at a time. So 3 keys that you have to learn to know how to execute the vision. And these 3 keys are going to literally help you with every single plan that you have. The first one is clarity. You have to know the goal of what you want to do and the why. What do you want to do and why do you want to do it? Can anybody tell me why? Why do you think that's important? Why do you think it's important to have clarity on your vision? And there's no right or wrong answer. Just like why do you think? I love that. Yep. There are going to be times where it's not smooth, like I said, it's not smooth sailing journey. I just told you the path was, and at the only $400 sale, I could be completely like, this is not like, girl, nobody wants what you said. I could have completely gave up and thought it wasn't worth it. So you have to know your what exactly is it, and the why. Your why is so much more important. People don't understand that making money in business is not about you doing it because you want the money. At the end of the day, it's all for profit, it's all for gain. But the purpose of what keeps you going is because you have a solution in your hand. So God forbid if I ever went through anything that created a hair loss and then I did my own remedy and touched that home and also my hair is growing. It's no profit for me because you're gonna buy it. But at the end of the day, it's like there's so many women suffering from hair loss. Like I did, when you fell into depression, you were oppressed, you felt these things. And so you not want to sell it because you're like, I can help you, I've got what you need. And so your purpose, that why, drives you even when the sales are bad, even when you're getting lows, because you're still like, I care enough though for this solution to get to the hands of the right people. So your why is good. So a tip for you when you go home after all of this, sit down, go to a little cafe, go to your house, wherever it feels like your little cafe, and literally sit and think, why is it that we're gonna have? Why is it such a burden to all on that? And that is gonna be what you refer back to anytime it seems too hard for you. Your next thing is you need strategy. Strategy. And I think that's exactly why I built the go-getter players, especially for business owners. And it can be as a business owner, as an individual, whatever it is. But strategy is important. I think this is exactly where a lot of people fail. They have the idea, they have the plan, but there is no strategy in place. And maybe it's not their biggest suit, it's not their where they shine the most, but there's no strategy. So you have to learn how to break it into steps, is what I told myself. So one of the biggest things, especially when I was in college, whenever I had an idea or a semester, I think about it as in years. And obviously being human beings, your purpose is for a lifetime. But also things come in phases and processes. So you have a goal for the entire year. Don't just wake up and say, okay, 2026, I want to lose 20 pounds. And like, that's where it ends with most people. I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to do this and that, and that's where it ends. They go to sleep, so the journey's 25, maybe they hit the gym. It's the second they hit the gym. They probably stop hitting the gym after a while. February, they're like, all right, back at it. And then before, it's literally December 31st, and you're like, first of all, not only did you lose weight, but you gained some. It was nothing that was done. And that was it. And so a lot of people lose the strategy. They don't have any strategy as to how are you actually going to do the thing. That's where it really fails. I think that's where being a planner, even if you're not a planner, learning how to plan is important. And a lot of times we do things not because it's fun. For me, planning is not that it's like the funnest thing in the world, but it's something that easily comes to me. But it doesn't have to be easy. But it's a necessary evil, would you say, right? And then you take that thing by yearly, but it's important that you not only stop there, but you're actually supposed to go and take it by month. Every single month, what would it look like for this one big goal to actually come to pass? And then every single week, what is something I can do to actually hit the monthly goal that hits the yearly goal and go? And on a day-to-day basis, what is something I can do today to take me closer to that goal? So let me break it down even more easily. Let's take the weight loss thing. If for the entire year you want to lose 15 pounds, in the month of January, you know you don't go to the gym. So I'm gonna tell you something, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. Because that's simple. If it happens, good for you. But let's be honest, it probably isn't gonna happen. And so in the month of January, maybe your goal is just to do 15 crunches every single day in your house. Don't go nowhere, in your house. 15 crunches. I think it's very practical, and I think it takes something that's like 5 minutes of your time. Very doable. And that's another thing that people don't realize. When you plan, we get it. We have faith and trust me. I'll be the first one to tell you, the Lord will lead you, the Lord will do it. But be realistic and be practical with yourself. And that is a big part of planning. What is something that is, as you're making the steps to that big goal, how is it practical in a sense? So month of January, by God's grace, you did those 15 punches every single day. That took 5 minutes. And sometimes it means setting alarms, 5 of them that one day, because you're really bad at actually trying to execute anything. So maybe at 10 a.m. it's like 15 punches, you snooze it, at 2 p.m. 15 punches, at 11, you know? But it's like, by any means necessary is the kind of mindset you have to kind of have and force yourself. But I'm sure by then, even if you didn't do every single day, you would have done a lot more. So February now, you're like, okay, do a 15-minute at-home workout every day that month. So that means going to at-home workout, nothing crazy. So the more you keep having different steps, and by the time you get to June, you're probably now into your diet. No more carbs for the month of this. You're now like, it's becoming easier and easier for you to understand what it means to lose weight and live a healthy lifestyle. That by December, even if you didn't actually make it to the gym, you are now way better off than you were in your January. So a lot of times you don't understand that you have to be okay with it not going exactly how you think it should go, and there's nothing wrong with that. The most important thing is for you to take the steps that get you closer to the goal. God willing, the Lord actually brings on you and really give the grace if you go. That's amen. But also, if it doesn't happen, don't allow yourself to feel defeated if it doesn't happen how you think it's supposed to happen. So strategy is the best way for you to also see vision. The last thing, a lot of people fail at this step, is consistency. Don't try to do 10 things at once. Maybe focus on 3. Consistency is a huge thing where people fail. Even these planners, a lot of the times, and number one question I get when people come to buy planners, like, I love the planner, I want to plan, but like, I just like I don't use it. I have like 10 planners at home, but I really don't use it. And I'm like, I feel you, there's nothing wrong with that. But one, this is where you gotta now be real with yourself. My planner, it is literally on my coffee table in my living room, open to the week, every week. It's not something tucked away to keep little bookcase. It's not for aesthetics, it's pretty as it is. But it's somewhere where I know I can see it and I can pass by it every single day. I'm by no means perfect in planning. I'm by no means got it all together in it. But I know myself to know that if I can't see it, I will use it. And so I keep it in a place where I can see it every single time. That helps me build consistency. So every week, every Sunday, by the end of Sunday, no matter how tired I am, I look at the planner, I'm like, okay, the week coming up. What is my week look like? Okay, Monday I gotta do this. Saturday I go to the shelter. Sunday I go to church. This will I have this appointment this day. But on the other side of it, okay, maybe I want to post every single day. So I literally write it. And on my planners next to it, there's literally something called top 3. Sort of the top 3 things you have to do that Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, whatever. So I list it out there. That helps me build consistency because I can see it. So if you can't see it, I feel like you're not going to use it. So consistency is where a lot of people fail because they're like, I didn't do it today, so maybe I can do it tomorrow. You don't do it, and it's kind of like when you go to the gym, right? You have to build the muscle. The only thing that will build the muscle is you continuously using the muscle. And so you have to be consistent. Why visions fail? There's a lot of reasons why visions fail. But if I was to give a few, one, visions fail because of fear, guys. So what you said was so true the very beginning. That if you don't know your why, when the fear creeps in, when the enemy creeps in, you will fail and you will just stop. But visions fail because of fear and doubt. And I really want to challenge you ladies that we're human beings. Doing things are scary. And sometimes things will be scary. Sometimes it's not moments for you. The fear will creep in, the enemy will speak to you. And trust me, the enemy speaks to everybody. And just so you guys know, even pastors, bishops, they are not exempt from the enemy speaking. So you don't ever get to a realm where the enemy did not speak to you. I don't think so. The enemy speaks. It's your ability to shut down those thoughts and keep it trucking like nothing ever happened that makes a difference. So I'll give you an example. When I was pregnant, I literally was like, it can't just be me. It just felt like every day there was an intrusive thought out of the weight words. It was like, what is going on? And obviously it was my first time being pregnant, so I was like, is this what everybody experiences? I remember one time I was literally doing what they call resting. So when you start thinking about the diapers here. And literally, immediately in my mind, the enemy was like, you're doing all this, what if the baby's gonna come? And immediately, I do not play with those intrusive thoughts at all. I literally opened my mouth and I said, Satan, you're a liar. And I kept it moving, because there's no need to even sit here and start to be depressed or even think about it or be like, and go into a whole 10-hour prayer session about it. And sometimes there's need for that if you have dreams or certain things that you feel. But sometimes, a lot of the times, I'm like, I rebuke you, Satan. The Lord literally says that I will live and not die. I cannot serve in this house and be buried in this carriage, and I'll keep it going. So when you have those intrusive thoughts about your vision, about whatever, you are just so convinced that the Lord calls you, so it doesn't matter. So when it comes, you learn how to like we talked about. We don't have clarity exactly on what it is or how it is, it will fail. But I'll give you an example. Clarity doesn't mean that you have all the direction. That's not what clarity is. Because sometimes people confuse it. People think that because I don't know exactly how it is or what it is or what the whole picture looks like that means it's not working for me, it's not for me. That's not what clarity is. Clarity is the Lord told you to start a woman's empowerment program. That's it. That was the direction. That's all. That's clarity enough. He didn't tell you what color should be like. He didn't tell you what you should look like in March. And he won't do that until you start to move your ways toward your faith. So as long as you know exactly what it is, that's all you need. So clarity does not look like, oh my God, what if, like the month of December, what's this looking like? And then you start to figure out, you're thinking you're all happy. No. As long as you know the why, it will come step by step. But a lot of times you don't have clarity, that's where you start to fail. No plan or strategies like we talked about before. It's good that you have a plan. So even if it's not this planner, use a planner. Have a system in place that helps you keep you accountable for what it is. The next thing is also inconsistency, like we said. And the last thing is accountability. So planners are accountabilities, people are accountabilities as well. In the book of Deborah, for Barak and Deborah was his accountability. So it's important that you have people around you that helps you keep accountable, or else you just have it in your mind. And trust me, I don't think that just because you have an idea, you should go on Instagram and tell everybody, yeah, by 2026, I'm going to build out a whole, I don't think that. But it's important that you have a few trusted people around you that can keep you accountable, that you can also rely on. I think back in like 8th grade or something, I heard this concept called the board of trustees for your own life. And it's something I have incorporated in my life. Board of trustees is really like, you think yourself as a CEO, and you have a board of trustees. When it's time to make a very important decision, you speak to board of trustees. But there's different kinds of people in your board of trustees. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm adding some But yeah, literally on the board of trustees, one example is like a cheerleader. There's someone in your life that just cheers you for them. They just want to see you win so bad. They're not necessarily even knitting roots with you. They're not necessarily, but they want to see you win so bad that anytime you see them, it's like, oh my God, like they just love you. They're just supporting you for no reason. Honestly, Tatiana and her sister are someone that to me are kind of like cheerleaders. Anytime I see them too, her little sister, I mean, you would have thought Obama just walked in. It's just a consistent reminder of your planners, your badge, your this. And to me, those are people that I consistently keep in my mind. Even a whole bunch of people could be saying, bro, you're not going nowhere. But as long as I know my board of trustees, there's people rooting for me. That's important. On the board of trustees, there's also someone that, you know, when you, I don't know if you guys are into finances, but when shares are done, if there's a decision that needs to be made, you could have like 30% of the vote, 30% of the vote, and the ultimate somebody can also have 40. And that's usually like the swing vote. So on the board of trustees, there's also people that you know when it comes down to decision time. These three people, and this person is probably like the swing voter. If they say and they go, I know the Lord is leading me, they'll vote councils. So it's a whole concept. And you guys know, I probably will think about it. I'll probably do a drawing actually with Shanti. She can actually share with you. But it's a bunch of different people that also that they keep you accountable and they keep your vision going. So your accountability for business or with lack of accountability. So I'll talk a bit about my go-getter planner, and then we'll also get into our. So my go-getter planner, I know can actually use yours. So this is a go-getter planner, and for me, it's my accountability. For me, it's my way of being consistent. For me, it's how I execute my vision. My tangible way to execute a vision. I think I have a great memory. Tell me something today, trust me, I'll remember. I think as a person on my own, I feel like I'm more determined than the average person. I'm more like, some people need pusher, but I think I am the pusher. You know, in friendships sometimes it's like someone that would be like, you know, that person is always like, girl, you say you're gonna do this, where is it at? I'm that person straight up. And so because I am that person, I also recognize that it's not every time. Like I said, I'm not perfect. And so sometimes things don't do that. Just yesterday, actually, my husband was having a meeting. And I told him, on your calendar, because that's what I do. It's not that I'm a machine. I use the apps on my $1,000 phone to help my life. So I said, put it on your calendar and set a reminder. And I actually did too. Long story short, it was the meeting, and it hit me like a light. I was like, oh my God, Josie, did you like? And he said, oh my God. And And I checked my phone, but I actually realized I put it for the wrong date. So I literally texted him and I was like, sir, I know sometimes it looks like I can do everything. Why don't you help me out and put on the reminders? So learn to use the tools around you. Reminder app on the phone. I use it like a crackhead. Like, if you tell me right now to text you tomorrow, I really put on my reminders. Not because I don't think I remember. I think I remember. But also, I recognize I'm not perfect. I won't forget it. I literally put on my reminders. The calendar app, I'm telling you, I have an app called Notion. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it. Notion app. I use it. I use all these things in tandem with things because they all work to run. It's like a system in place that just, it helps me. So I didn't just stop at the planner because I've been made, it's not everywhere, every place I can carry this planner. But I use it all to literally help me out in my planner. So the planner, it's undated. So if you were to buy it today, it literally, you can start using it. It's undated because I've gone through the process of buying planners and it gets to like June and I stop using it. I didn't really have to get on my girl. You wasted your money because you didn't even finish and you needed to. So it's undated because I recognize that everybody starts at a time. It's also a vision board in it. So this is the 2.0 version and I came out with 2 colors in purple. But it's also broken down by years. So there's a vision board in there and every year, so I actually show you, that's the right picture. I didn't show you, it's just like, there's a vision board in there that I included because I realized I'm also someone that's very visual. So even a little testimony actually, I literally, when I was brushing my teeth this morning, it was when I popped this board. So last year on my vision board, I literally put a paid speaking engagement. Didn't think anything of it at all. And that's one thing about me. If I think it, I'm gonna put it down. Because I feel like in some ways the Lord needed me. And I'll just put it down. So my ideas, people think I like sit there and come, no, it's just as soon as I get it, oh, why not? Because you never know what that thing is, right? I literally put a paid speaking engagement. I put like 4 paid brand deals. Like I just put a bunch of stuff. Financial goals, just a bunch of vision stuff. Just to put it. So this morning I was brushing my teeth. I literally go, like, what in the world? I really had to stop for a moment. I was like, I don't think people understand. Like, the Lord has given us all so many different gifts. And so it's important that you just lean into it and you utilize it. I literally would have, even another thing was I put vacation on it. And at the time when I did it, I usually do it in November before the year starts. So at the time when I did it, I was really like 8 months pregnant. And I was like, girl, what vacation you going to next year? You have about to have a new baby. Like, it was just kind of like, girl, like, be for real. Like, and that's the part where I'm like, of course I'm realistic, but I'm also not all the way where it's like, leave room for God and leave room for life to happen. But I really put vacation on it. And my God's grace early this year in May, we took a trip to Jamaica. I would have never, I literally would have never, babies, like, it was, and it literally, I'm telling you, it's like a week notice had a trip. So that means like money. Also, you can even plan out your, like, you know. But I looked down, like, I even got to do that too. Not even knowing, realizing how, where it was going to happen, but it happened. And so I think it's important that, obviously, right now, also see it for yourself. And for me, I print out, or I'm going to get my husband and I start doing this, print out really big and put it in our bedroom. And I literally told him we're being called to do so much, and it can feel like a lot, but we need to see it every day and be able to speak life into it. So even if when you just wake up, you put it literally, like, print a big fat thing. And there's something I actually usually call, something called bingos. It's like a bingo card that's for your goals. So I write down the 2 words with this picture of a total attached to each of it. And literally, I told him, we just did it for the year 2026 about a week ago. I forced him. I was like, I know you don't want to do it, but it's fine. This is where you're weak, I'm strong. So let's do it. You gotta force them. Yeah. I literally forced them. We did it, stayed up to like 2 a.m. And literally, I was like, man, I do not care, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna print it, we're gonna blast it, put it in our room. And somewhere literally where every day when I open my eyes, I can see it. So even if it's not always a prayer session or something, the fact that I'm seeing it every day, I'm bound to keep talking about it. And he said something so important about conception. I was reading the book of Genesis over about when the Lord created the heavens and the earth. So it said in the beginning was not the beginning, so not Genesis, Genesis was the beginning of created the heavens and the earth. And the Lord said the earth was without form, was void and formless. And the Holy Spirit literally said to me, root over it. The Holy Spirit said to me that conception doesn't stop at creation. It starts at confession. So just because you created a thing, he created the heavens and the earth. But that's not where we were all, that's not where light came from, that's not where people came from. It's when he started to speak to it, is when light was came. It's when people came. It's when Adam and Eve was born. So creation doesn't stop at conception. It literally starts at confession. So it's important for me to blast that picture up there, because every single day, best believe I'm going to speak life into that thing. I'm going to keep saying, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Even thank you, God, in advance. Thank you, Lord, for the house we don't have it. Thank you, Lord, enough for this thing that's not happening. Or I see it, and then sometimes I am prompted to keep actually going to pray about it. Like, you know, this thing has to happen. And so learning to put it on out so we can speak life into it. So I include a bit of and then it kind of goes on and it's broken down into your yearly goals. So every year, in the top right, it's labeled health, it's labeled finance, and at the very beginning of it, actually, there's something called the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, it has all these different things: health, finances, philanthropy, relationship, family. And in the Wheel of Fortune, I think it's important for you to first take account of where you are in that place that you're trying to get to. So even if it's a business or idea you have right now, realistically think to yourself, right now to where I should be with it, where, so back to the fitness goal. If your goal is to be in the gym every single day, but you really don't go to gym once a week to do every single day, you're probably at a 0 out of 10. And that's okay, put that down as 0 out of 10. If your goal finances to make 100K a year, but you're only making 50, you're probably at like technically a 5 out of 10, because you're halfway there. So take documentation of where you actually are relative to where you want to be. Because then when it comes down to actually plan the goal for each single thing, you know how much energy and effort it needs to take. If you know this year the Lord said the business, but you're at a 0 out of 10 with the business, or your finances is actually at an 8 out of 10, maybe don't think so much about trying to make so much money that year. And what you realize is that money comes when the gift, like when you're gifted and when you're walking in purpose, the money will come. So you don't have to think too much about like, oh, let me maybe find another job, which you can always be applying to jobs. But make sure you put more energy into the spaces that need more energy. So that's why I think it's important for us for people to do the Wheel of Fortune before you start to plan. So when you come to your yearly goals, it's really labeled like long-term, short-term, the action you need to take. And so as you're going with every finance, relationship, you're just telling yourself, long-term, the whole single year, what is my long-term goal for my finances? What's my long-term goal for my relationship? What's my long-term goal for every single career in my life? And then what are the 3 things that can actually become short-term goal of that? So the long-term goal is 100K, then 3 short-term goals. Okay, let me focus on making my first 20K. Then focus on making my first 20K, then the next 20K, then the last one. So breaking it down in the action system. Now the big bulk of the work comes in every single month. And also includes the social media calendar. Because a lot of people oftentimes are like, oh, do social media calendar, do this and that, but they don't actually like plan it. It's okay to actually sit down and say, run down, I'll put up a blog, I'm gonna post a picture of this and that. So I put a social media calendar in there as well. So as you go into it, the month, and I also put a reader list. Because like I said, I'm actually a huge reader. I read at least 12 books every year. And that's something that doesn't change for me. It helps my learning. So when you come to the first month, let's say we're in the month of October, and you put your month, and it says this month I want to be able to achieve goals, thrive, and focus on. So if you think about that, some of the goals you have, overall yearly goal. In the month of January, for me, the month of January is always like a wellness month. It's like, how do I get my wellness in place that for the rest of the year I can be good for? So whether that means setting up that doctor's yearly physician, going to the dentist, whether it means like going to get, like whatever it looks like for me, I go ahead and I put it. And then what are the 3 things you could do to get to that goal for the month? Because remember, the whole month of January is a big out. And you can focus on like 1 or 2. I don't like to say that means take every goal from every category and then put in a month of, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You literally tell yourself, this month I want to make 20K, this month I want to get in this one call, this month I want to do, that's way too much. And so what is it that you want to focus on that month? It could be 1 or 2, 2 things, 3 things max. And then what are the 3 goals listed? So I want to make sure by the time this month is over, I would have done 1, 2, and 3. And then what are the small things you have to do to literally get you to have done that first thing, to get you to have done that second thing, to get you to have done that third thing. And then when you go over as well, every week now, there's a weekly plan. So now every single day, like I said, the new thing I added was the time frame. focus on, at the very least, what are the 3 things if you did that day, you call successful. The fact that I filled out my LLC application today, I was pretty darn successful. That's why I was, because you believe it takes you 6 months to even fill out an LLC application. You know what I mean? And so, what are the top 3 things you can do that one to have call yourself successful? So every single day, put in things. What are the appointments you have? What are the things? Oh, I have to do at least 2 hours of research. If your goal is to get a job, a high-paying job, I have to do at least 1 hour filling out applications on LinkedIn. I have to do what are the small things each day you can do to get you to that ultimate goal. And that's how you can utilize the plan. So every single month is there, and then at the end of the month, I have something that I call a monthly review page that I do. Because I used to also do this. Every month I used to look at it, and I used to be like, what were the top 4 things I accomplished? And it doesn't always have to be that you did, if you got to do things perfect, if you did it, that's fine. But look beyond that, right? Look beyond it. What are sometimes accomplishment for me in the month of February was I pushed out a baby. I didn't get to do this thing, I didn't get to do it, but hey, I pushed out a whole entire human being. Like, thank you, Jesus. That was a huge accomplishment. And I put this in here because, and I encourage you to maybe, to be realistic with yourself, but also be positive, because I think it can help kill that fear and doubt that you have. Then when you go to the next month, the next day, you feel like you're not actually, you're not like, it's like you're not getting there. No. Look back on it and be like, at the end of the day this month, first of all, I didn't get fired this month. I'm doing something right. At this, you know what I mean? Like, what are those things that you, oh, this month, my baby turned 6 months. Oh, this month, I gained 200 new followers on Instagram. Like, it's the small things. So maybe you didn't gain that 20K you wanted, but hey, 200 random people in their life decided you were the follower. That's something to be proud about. So I think a monthly review will also went well, what did it go well, what bad habits you need to stop, or what bad habit, what do you actually need to improve on. So whatever those bad habits are, now you can be conscious that the next time this is what you would do. And then after the monthly review, there's also a gratitude page. And this also, I think, helps kill that thing that can sometimes bring inconsistency. You feel like you're not being consistent, blah, blah, blah. But I think take some time every single month. What are you grateful for? What actually happened this month? What made you smile? What did you actually do well? What is something that you want to take into next month? This month, anytime I had an appointment, I literally put on my calendar. I want to keep doing that next month. Before you know it, you build so many habits and systems and things that are actually helping you run your life and execute the vision. And then always, what are 10 things you're grateful for? I believe gratitude is a huge, huge, huge thing that people take for granted. And you actually do that very, very well. It's important that you learn to be grateful no matter how life is going, and that's why I put that in here. So like I said, it's a reminder for myself. These are things that help my life. And so every single month, even if something didn't happen how I thought it should happen, these are the same things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that the Lord kept me alive this month. I'm grateful that my family has a place to live this month. Sure, if somebody got fired or you got fired, but hey, at the end of the month, you still have a roof over your head. You're not like a hopeless person walking around. I'm grateful for the fact that I actually got to eat what I wanted this morning. People take that for granted. One thing I really don't know how it happened, I really could solve for it, will be like hunger. When I'm hungry, and I love food, you know anything about me, I love food. When I'm hungry, and then I get to eat something I actually wanted to eat to satisfy the hunger, I literally sit there and I think there's somebody that even a piece of bread would have felt like satisfaction to me. But the fact that I can really send out my credit or debit card and literally swipe and be like, oh, that was such a good meal, to me is something to be grateful for. And so for someone, that's something that you can be grateful for. So just get into the habit of, even though it's not going, it's not pushing, it's like, oh, like, the thing is, it's not going how it should be. But hey, we're still going. We're still persistent. We're still benefit. So at the end of every single month, there's gratitude and a monthly review for that. And it spans in 12 months. And that's really how you would use it if you were to get it today. But also, if you don't get it today, just how you should think about how you go about your planning. So I'll pause there first. If anybody has any questions about anything I said, then we'll go into the exercise. Chile. How we feeling? Okay.
I have 2 things to say. Number one, I feel like, and this relates to what we're talking about, because I think going back to what we talked about with the burden, I think another part of that is like just recognizing like what God keeps bringing to you consistently, and like how you can, like how that's communicating what you should be birthing out. And I say that because like every time I'm around someone, I start getting like business ideas. So so for you, like just now when we were talking, it's funny, like literally last night, the Holy Spirit brought this to me, like consistency is a thing because that is where everything will fall apart. If you're not consistent in your prayer life, like your fitness example, you can work out for 2 days, but then if you don't work out for 2 days, you lose all your, it's like back to ground zero. So like I think you maybe I'm just suggesting a book on that because I feel like that's a big part of that three-step strategy. Like how do you actually be consistent? Like what is the fire in you that you can consistent? Because we talk about the burden and all of that, but like life happens, right? And you have, if you don't have like, you know, it could be like all those reminders and systems that you put in place. Like what is a surefire way to like make sure you will be consistent? Using all of those stuff. The board of advice, like having people bug you, like remind you on top of you. So that's the business idea. Number two, or like product idea. The other thing that I struggle with is like getting overwhelmed with actually sitting down and schedule. That is where I usually fail. So I'm like, okay, I have it. Thank you for walking me through the planner. Another idea, I think you need a video on like what I've had it and I didn't even know I was listening.
Because that's my the month of September, I was definitely supposed to.
Like, oh, there's a gratitude pay. I should have gone through it, obviously, but once again, I looked at it and I was like, oh, I don't know how to go about it. So, yeah, that's my question. Like, how do you, and it seems so mundane, but like, I feel like it definitely is a skill. Like, how do you really sit down and schedule?
So, I would say that for me, life for me is a bunch of systems. And to me, there's no way I can go into the next week without knowing what it's going to look. So sure enough, you know you have to go to church. You know, there's certain things like for us, I'm in church like 4 or 5 days out the week. So every single Wednesday I'm in church for Bible studies. And the reason being that I can be at home, but I'm on the media team. So anytime there's church called media is me. So I literally go to church on Wednesdays, I go to church on Fridays, and I go to church on Saturdays and Sundays. And then most of the times if there's a program happening, it's a whole 3-day weekend. And like I said, we're about to fast next month. So I'm literally going to be church basically 21 days to all our hours during every single day. Those things are happening. Like it's just it's like the things you have to do. You have to go to work every single day. Like that's already there.
Right.
But for me, the way I think about it is that my life is not my as usual. I've got stuff I've got to do. I've got businesses I've got to push out. I've got like those are things like in short, purpose has to happen. And purpose, like I said, is a long life journey, right? So it doesn't, you can take it a year at a time, it happens, it's a lifetime thing. But I've got something to do with my life. And the reason why it's easy for me to sit down and consistently always think about what my week will look like is because that's the mindset I'm carrying. So 2 things I highlight in the book actually when you get it. The first 2 things I say is, if you're not gonna do these 2 things, put the book down. The first 2 things, the one is I say that you have to have a can-do mindset. You have to have a mindset that this is something that I'm about to do, I need to do. If you don't got a can-do mindset, it's fine. Go gift it to somebody else for Christmas. But don't keep it, or else everything will just fail, won't be good and useful. The next thing I put in there is you have to learn how to set realistic goals as well. If you think this is like a magic scan, a genie in a bottle, that's just all of a sudden, it's not, that's not how it works. And so for sure, your mindset matters. And for me, life happens, the different things I need is happening in my life. But every single day, I am burdened by purpose. I am burdened by what I need to do. And trust me, you can have a burden. And this is a conversation I have with one of my friends all the time. Every time I talk to them, I'm doing that pusher thing. Like, girl, what you doing with yourself? It's always really like, I feel like I'm not consistent. I feel like I'm not consistent. And like, they're like, I want to do things. It's not like I don't have a desire, but I'm not consistent. And I was like, well, get to a place where you're so burdened. It's like you can't. It's like you can't move or itch without always doing a thing or doing what you have to do. So I think your mindset matters. Like life for me is beyond the 4 walls of church. Because I think we go in there to equip, and then outside of that, that's really where you preach the gospel, you win other souls. So for me, it's not. I can't always get trapped in like, oh, I'm serving the house of the Lord. I'm okay, but like. That's not, your judgment won't end at the fact that you only serve the house of the Lord. It'll be, what did you do outside the walls? So those other things that God, vision God is, that should matter to you as much as you learn from Him. So that's why for me, at the end of every week, I go because I'm like, all right, what are we doing this week that's helping me to push out this planner thing? So even after I released the planner, I unofficially released it in August, I think, because I was solely at the conference. And then in September, my goal was supposed to be actually to now market it more. But my September kind of ended up shifting into other things that I didn't get to do. So for me though, I know because we're about to be in the last 3 months of the month, I gotta drink, sleep, eat the market with this planner. That's what I know. And so because it didn't happen in September, now these are different things that I know. So in the book of, especially when we're fasting, there's something about fasting that makes you feel very like, it's like your gates, your heavens are open. It's like you could do anything, like literally. And so I know for me that's something I have to do. And so yeah, like your mindset, like these are the things that I have to question. If the Lord told you create a media company, a photography, a videographer, get a team of people together, that for you is a purpose. So you should be burdened by every week. What can I do that can help me get closer to building this company? Doesn't mean just me myself, making sure I have equipped myself first. If you're not equipped for it, how are you gonna help somebody else? So does that mean sharpening my own skills? That's why I talk about the investment part. Sometimes people are also scared to invest in your own craft. If you're, yes, you can be gifted in something, but it does not mean that you are now, you do it excellently, you're skilled in it. Skill and giftings are two different things. And so even for me, I like to think, I'm actually someone I love to read. Because I love to read, I also love to write. But I also ever write a book, I think I'm like, I can edit somebody else's book, but I'll be full to think I can't edit my own book. So off the bat, I'll go off searching for editor, go off looking for somebody, exactly, go off looking for somebody else. And so it's important that your mindset, you're burdened enough by the purpose you have to build. Because then every Sunday or every Monday, whatever you choose, you sit there for those 5 minutes and really think, what I gotta do on Monday, what I gotta do on Tuesday, and that's what keeps you going. So that, yeah, long, that's a good question.
I have a follow-up comment. I think like what's so important about that is being burdened by like the problem and not by the profit. Because I think that like so many times we think, and maybe I'm talking to myself, but this is something that maybe I meditate on. It's like you start to think, oh, what am I gonna try? Like, what am I gonna gain from this? But it's like you have to be more burdened by the purpose, and then God will give you the blessing. So
I agree with that. No, that's good because I think I touched on the fact that even when you're building a business or doing something, don't think too much about what you're gonna make or gain from it. If you're walking in purpose, it follows. The blessings, they naturally follow. Like, even for me, this whole thing is testimony. Because I would have thought, I'm just going on Instagram, yapping every day about somebody's planner, or yapping about my life, being a lifestyle something. But who would have thought that somebody in proximity to me would have thought what I had was worth for someone to reach out to me to come with you. You know what I mean? And so, don't be worried too much about how it's going to come about, what it's going to do. Just walk in obedience and making sure that you're doing what the Lord led you to do. And the book that one of my favorite scriptures is the entire Bible in the book of 2 Kings. Basically, there was about to be a war, a fight happening, and I don't know who the person is, I don't know who the person is. But basically, the prophet tells them to go, and they're like, no. And then the word of the Lord comes that this is an easy thing with the sight of the Lord. Everything is easy. It is nothing. I've not had a job in about 2 years. It is easy for me to be, the whole 2 years, I spent my 2 years being depressed or thinking like, what the heck, like, but like, it's nothing for a recruiter to hit me up right now offering me a $200K job. It's nothing for God to do. So what I will do is I'll continue to apply for a job, I'll continue to sharpen my skills, I'll continue to apply myself. But the actual blessing of it, it's for God to give to me. So my part is doing what I need to do to make sure I'm in alignment to get that blessing. But it's easy. It's easy for God to turn this next year into a 50-person thing. It's easy for it to be a 1,000-person thing. It's easy. You just keep pushing and working and things. And all the biggest things, all the people we love to use, aka Apple, Steve Jobs, aka Microsoft. It started, you know what I mean? Yeah, surely their backgrounds are probably different, their resources, but where they got to how they are now, it wasn't an overnight thing. They worked it, they got notes, they got all that. So sometimes as Christians, we really do think that God is supposed to be like some quick fix. It's not. You have to be able to work the thing. And so definitely to your comment, I agree.
that was 2 Kings 3 verse 18.
2 Kings 3:18, one of my favorites. Anytime somebody's talking to me, it's like they're complaining or burden. That's like that person. I wait for them to finish and I'm like, are you done? Are you done? Because don't worry about that part. First of all, about you. What are you doing? Are you building yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you're prepared for the blessing? Also, oftentimes, I always ask people, I literally sometimes, like, I remember one of my friends, she was going on about how, yeah, I'm going cracker. When she was done, I literally go, so are you prepared for the blessing Lord is giving to you? Like right now, if somebody came to you and they're like, oh, I do the bit, are you prepared? And we were like,
Right.
so I was like, yeah, so go through that part first, and then we can have this conversation again. So you're not, you yourself, you're not a prepared vessel, a ready vessel, then like, what are you praying for a blessing?
Right.
Ask the Lord to give you grace first to be consistent, grace to show up, grace to sharpen yourself, grace to step into it, and then you can go on.
So this doesn't, it doesn't have a day.
Date, no, you, it literally says month, so you have to like put it in September 2026.
Oh no, I meant like, there's no like day by day.
No, so you, as you do it, then you can really put the day that it is.
Right, got it.
And there's a calendar for it. Like,
Oh, it's more so practical, like,
yeah.
and so forth. The daily task for you, if you're not able to accomplish something like that, again, what do you do with that thing?
Yep. So every single day, some things that are also routine. There's some things that are also considered routine. So I don't try to plan myself too much on it. Routine for me is reading a few pages of the book I'm reading that book every single day. If that day it happened, I'm not about to beat myself up. And the reason why I can say this is because I used to beat myself up. When I was in college, anytime I used to like all through my life, I used to plan and just do stuff. I used to be that person to be like, oh my god, like it just feels like I failed. It just literally feel like I failed in life. It's just like, oh, like you, and then before you know it, the whole month is going by. Girl, you still haven't you didn't even get 10 pages in. You just stopped at day one. And so for me, those things, I'm like, it's fine. Tomorrow I'll try it. So certain things is fine. Even like, let's say social media. There's someone that you really want to get to content creation, social media. Set a goal for yourself, maybe 3 times a week. If it doesn't happen that week, it's fine. That does not mean kill the vision. It just means pick it up again and keep going at it until you get to a place where you're like, okay. So for me, every day, if it doesn't happen, I just move to the next day. So even a monthly goal, if a monthly goal doesn't happen, I move it to the next month. So even in building my first business, Global Essentials, it was in 2021. The Lord told me about it, spoke to a sister about, oh, I see you with like luggages, and I was like, oh, I love the airport. One of my favorite places to be is the airport. I love to travel. Like, so I literally knew immediately that was something worth looking into. I registered the business in March 2021, and in my head I was like, okay, literally by July, like this thing is gonna be launched, all of that. Unrealistic. Like talk about unrealistic, I am unrealistic only. Because you're gonna have people buying for you inside 3 months. You don't know how to build a website. And so every month though, I told myself, I kept doing certain things. I was like, this month alone, I'll focus on actually getting the design skill. The next month I'll focus on actually getting manufacturing. The next month I'll focus on building the website or outsourcing something. By the time I got to the website part, I already done spent all my money on everything else. And your girl, me, and Shopify and YouTube went together real bad and built my own stuff. And so just, it was like a step by step. But whenever it didn't happen, I just moved it to the next time. Even the planner, remember I told you 2022, it didn't happen. 2023 didn't happen. I just kept moving it. Because it's gonna happen. It need to happen one way or the other. So that's the mindset you also kind of have to have. Right? Even though it's not happening how you think or how fast, just have that persistency and do that. It's okay. Lord, just keep giving you more grace and keep executing. So I'll take one more question. Anybody has one last question? And then I want us to get into the questions on this.
I have like 1,000 things I want to say, so
Okay.
I'm just trying to let everyone, nobody else has something. More so comments. I feel like you're really good with alliteration. Because crack the consistency code. I think that was a good ebook. And then the problem, not the profit. You just said that. Like, I feel like those are all catchy stuff. So that's powerful. If you want to lean into ebooks on that, that would be amazing. But you said a couple of things that I think I was just smiling and laughing to myself because literally there's a chapter in this book that I wrote, which is chapter 20, and it's called your vision is the anchor. And you were like, I feel like you were reading the chapter as you were talking because the way that God gave it to me is the time when Paul was in shipwreck and then they would let the anchor down. When you let the anchor down, your anchor is your vision. So
what's the time? Remember the time check.
I think it's 12:03. So, Shuka, I do want to respect your time. I know you were giving me like this.
No, you're good. You're fine.
If you do have to leave, can you just take a picture of us before you do leave?
Yeah.
Just like nudge us when you have to leave, so we can take a picture with her.
Okay, no, y'all continue.
Okay. Alright.
That was
Yep.
so then hopefully it takes about 30 minutes. I won't take 20 minutes. We'll do an exercise. So in this exercise, it's really mainly for you guys. So I want you guys to write down one goal you want to accomplish in the next 3 months. And I want you to be very, like, as transparent as you want to be. Because I want to individually talk everybody through how you will actually do that goal. So one goal, and if it's not the next 3 months, if it's a year, wherever the case may be, something that you just feel like you've been stumbling across, write it down. And then write 3 big, really things that you know you have to do to get to that number. Sign it.